But first on Chicago Tonight, will the dreaded Asian silver and bighead carp invade Lake Michigan as they've invaded the Illinois River? That was a main concern of biologists from 3 continents who gathered in downstate Peoria last week to deal with one of the most serious threats ever to face the inland waterways. As the first in a series of reports on the Great Lakes funded by the Joyce Foundation, Rich Samuels offers this fish story, which many will find more than a little scary.
On the Illinois River, 5 miles downstream from Peoria, visiting fish biologists witnessed hundreds of leaping silver carp. For Canadian researcher Becky Cudmore, this was an eye-opener.
I can see the shadows.
So can I.
It makes you real nervous.
Oh. Okay, we just don't.
I'll change our video.
It was unbelievable. Never seen anything like it in my life.
Even though this is your profession?
This is my profession, and I've never seen fish jump that high. I've never seen that many jump, and certainly not anything that big. And also, they're very messy. I've never seen anything like that either.
In the swift water just below the Peoria Lock and Dam, Becky's colleague Nick Mandrak snagged a bighead carp. He too was impressed by the way these invasive species have taken over the river.
It was pretty incredible and very sobering at the same time. That was a great indication to me that we just don't want those fishes in the Great Lakes.
Well, we believe that because they feed on the lower food web, that they would destabilize the entire food web of the Great Lakes and would disrupt the native fish communities of the Great Lakes as we know them and change them forever. And that's not including the other social economic consequences, the indirect effect on the salmon fishery, the indirect effect or the direct effect of people actually being hit by carp flying out of the water while they're boating. It's unbelievable. And the amazing thing about it is they don't tend to do this in their native range, and this is an example of how species that are introduced can behave in very unpredictable manners and have very unpredictable consequences.
Asian carp were brought to the U.S. in the 1970s, essentially to do cleanup work in catfish farms. They escaped into the Mississippi River during the floods of 1993. The extent to which they've displaced native species in their new habitat is still a matter of conjecture. But the locals will tell you that sport fishing here on the Illinois River has changed since the Asian carp arrived.
They're pretty much ruining all the other species of fishing on the Illinois River right here. The bass fishing, the late fall crappie fishing, the catfishing and white bass fishing has declined over the last couple summers here at the dam, as a lot of people attest to. They're just, it's a nuisance.
They definitely are taking up a lot of the biomass, which means, there's a lot of space out there for fish, and whether it be largemouth bass or, Asian carp. And right now there is a large biomass of Asian carp. So how are they directly affecting the bass, the buffaloes, those other species? We're still, in the process of trying to find that out.
Are we going to keep these fish out of Lake Michigan?
We're going to do everything we can. Of course, we have an electric barrier in place.
The barrier is on the Sanitary and Ship Canal near Romeoville. It's supposed to replace an experimental electric barrier installed here in 2002. But the Army Corps of Engineers is months behind schedule in getting it online, and it can't predict when it will turn the juice on here. The problem?
Money. Money. It's always been money with this project. It's been chronically underfunded ever since it was first authorized back in 1996. We just never had enough money to build the first barrier the way we really wanted to make it long-lasting, really powerful. So we ended up with this smaller, what we call a demonstration barrier now, with about a 5-year lifespan, and we're at 4.5 years now of its life. The second barrier, we got $9.1 million to build it. Not completely unexpected. The costs continue to grow as we go along. Safety is becoming more of a concern as we have more power in the water. There's some concerns with commercial navigation, the effect on barges, the potential for arcing.
The U.S. House and Senate have passed separate bills mandating completion of the barrier, but they've yet to agree on common language, and when they do...
Again, that's only authorization. We will still need the funding to back that up, to make Barrier 1 permanent, fully construct Barrier 2, make it a fully federal project, and to operate both barriers well into the future.
Can we get that done in time, or are the fish going to win out?
That's a good question.
16.5.
Huh?
16.
Dwayne Chapman is a biologist with the United States Geological Survey. Controlling the spread of Asian carp is his passion.
I got an opportunity around 2001, 2002 to really start working with these fish full time to see what I can do. And my goal is that, I don't want to waste the taxpayers' money. I want to, to really have an impact on these fish and protect our native fish. That is what I'm about. I think these fish are really cool and they fascinate me, but the whole point is let's do something about it, about the problem. There's a silver carp.
Chapman believes we can win the battle with these fish, provided we get them out of the water.
If we can increase the harvest through whatever means, then yes, we can control these fish.
There is presently but one commercial fisherman on the Illinois River who sets his nets for Asian carp. At a processing plant in Thompson, Illinois, the fish are prepared for what's presently an exclusively Asian American market. In the future, this operation hopes to manufacture Asian carp fish patties, and there are dreams of exporting the carp back to China, where these fish are considered good eating.
We've gone to China and we're working on that. The problem is it's very marginal. There's not much money to be made in it. They want to buy the product as cheap as possible, and with transportation charges the way they are today, with fuel prices and everything, it's very, very marginal.
So you have to really convince people here that these are good things to eat.
Yeah.
You start off filleting them just like you would a bass or anything else.
Biologist Dwayne Chapman believes that shouldn't be a problem.
Oh, they're great. They're fantastic eating. And they're bony. They have bones that are in the meat. And if you can learn to deal with those bones, then the fish are just really good.
What is your preferred way for preparing them?
Oh, geez. I have lots of favorite ways to eat fish. I'm quite the fish connoisseur. But I made ceviche on Saturday that was a rave at a party, which is it's a Latin American way to prepare fish, marinating it with lime juice. But you don't have to do anything special to these fish to make them good to eat. If you like fried fish, then fried silver carp, fried bighead carp, fried grass carp are very good fish.
Sport fishing is another way the carp might be controlled. Given their plankton diet, they are not caught by conventional angling techniques. But in the vicinity of Peoria, the current rage is shooting jumping carp with bow and arrow. The Asian carp problem is by no means unique to the Illinois River, and the experts believe that preventing the spread of these invaders upstream is in fact an international problem.
There is not a brick wall along the border in the Great Lakes. We share those lakes, and we work very closely with American colleagues to try to protect those lakes.
It absolutely is an international issue. Canada is just as concerned about it as the United States is. We're fortunate enough that we're on the north side of the lakes and we don't have to deal directly with the invasion in the Mississippi. However, we're keeping close tabs on it and we're very concerned about it.
Meanwhile, here on the Illinois River, as indeed on much of the Mississippi River system, the Asian carp continue to jump. And there's no sign that they're going to stop jumping anytime soon, if ever.
For Chicago Tonight, this is Rich Samuels.
At a carp derby in downstate Bath, Illinois over the weekend, more than 1,800 Asian carp were netted. One angler is now nursing a black eye and a broken nose. And you guessed it, a jumping silver carp hit him in the face.
Environmental reporting on Chicago Tonight is made possible in part by the Joyce Foundation, dedicated to protecting the Great Lakes. Fresh water at the heart of America.